Recently, the US Department of Justice concluded that there is no Epstein list, but is this the truth or is there a government cover-up? Jeffrey Edward Epstein was born on January 20th, 1953. He was born in the Brooklyn area of New York, and his mother worked as a school aide and housemaker while his dad worked as a groundskeeper. Jeffrey was the oldest of two siblings, and the family grew up in a working class area. They were also described by their neighbours as the most gentle family ever. During his early life, Epstein would attend local public schools, and he would start to earn his own money by tutoring his classmates. Jeffrey was considered quiet and nerdy, but he was also considered sweet and generous. In the words of one of his old female classmates, he was just your average boy. At the age of just 21, Epstein would land his first teaching role, where he would be a mathematics teacher. Despite having no teaching credentials, he was still hired. However, according to a former student, Jeffrey would often show inappropriate behaviour towards the younger girls, paying them more attention than others, and even showing up to a house party where the young people that he was teaching were drinking. And if you're wondering, well, what type of inappropriate behaviour, one former student actually said that he would be seen flirting with the female students. Jeffrey was eventually dismissed from that school for poor performance, but it wouldn't take long for him to get in with the owner of an American investor bank. He would join in 1976 as a low-level junior assistant to a floor trader. He would very quickly make his way up the ranks to the point where he was conversing with some of the most wealthiest clients that the bank had. However, in 1980 he would leave the bank, but he would still keep in close contact with not only them but also the owner until their eventual closure in 2008. He first caught his first accusation around 2005. A woman would contact a Florida police department over accusations that Epstein had actually taken her 14-year-old stepdaughter to his mansion. She was taken there by an older girl, and she was paid $300 to strip and massage Epstein. It was after this that they began a 13-month undercover investigation into Epstein, which eventually led to the FBI getting involved because the head of police didn't trust the state prosecutor. 36 girls were eventually identified, and when Epstein was brought up on the charges, he pleaded guilty. He was convicted in 2008 and was part of a controversial plea deal which saw him only spend 13 months behind bars. However, in July 6, 2019, he would be arrested yet again, and this is where everything would properly begin. Around the time that Epstein was arrested, there was a lot of discussion over potential co-conspirators. He had dozens of allegations under his name at this point, and with some of the most powerful people that he were friends with, the questions were raised as to whether any of them were also participating in this very disturbing and very illegal activity. On July 23rd, 2019, Epstein was found injured in his cell. He had marks around his neck, but his cellmate at the time denied having any knowledge of what had happened. The prison staff decided not to rule out an assault by another inmate, but also not to rule out the possibility that this was an attempted taking of his own life. And so, after the incident, just as a precaution, he was placed on suicide watch. 6 days later, he would be taken off of it, and according to the people who saw him at the time, he was allegedly in good spirits. After he was taken off of suicide watch, Epstein was placed into a special housing cell. The jail informed the Department of Justice that a guard would look into his cell every 30 minutes, and also that he would have a cellmate. However, these procedures were not followed on the night that I'm about to tell you. On August 10th, 2019, Epstein was found dead in his cell. The death was being called a suicide by hanging, but some people weren't convinced. First of all, the day before he allegedly took his own life, his cellmate had been moved for no apparent reason. And even more suspicious is that no other cellmate took his place. Later in the evening, around the time that Epstein was alleged to have killed himself, the guards did not follow the jail's regular procedure of checking on him every 30 minutes. They claim that they fell asleep and did not check on him for 3 hours. However, they also falsified records. And funnily enough, the 2 cameras in front of Epstein's cell also managed to malfunction that night. Lots of coincidences going on here. So let's skip forward now, because obviously there's a lot to go over here, but I want to focus on some of the more recent developments. Just this month, CCTV footage from outside of Epstein's cell on that night was released to the public. This was an attempt to try and squash the conspiracy theories, but it certainly hasn't done that for the reason that you're about to find out. During the released footage, the clock jumps from 11:58 to 12, seemingly without any explanation. This is around the time that he may have taken his own life, so where's the missing minute? And what could have possibly occurred during it? If this is when the cameras allegedly malfunctioned, then we still have nothing, and this certainly doesn't go any way to solve any conspiracy. If anything, this adds further weight to the conspiracy theories that Epstein did not take his own life. Outside of the CCTV footage, there is said to be a secret Epstein list, which contains the names of a lot of people who engaged in illegal activities, all of these people being very high profile and sometimes people in power. Take the current president Donald Trump, for example, who has been claimed to be part of the Epstein Files for some time. There are many photos of Epstein and Trump partying together, and there's absolutely no doubt that Donald Trump is a weirdo, and that is a massive understatement. Not only is the man already a felon, but he has made some extremely concerning comments in the past. One of the big pushing points for Trump was that he was going to release the Epstein Files if he were to get into power. And thus here we are, and we still don't know anything. Even the claim that the CCTV footage was finally released to the public is essentially false, because the FBI claimed that the video was raw, but a Wired investigation proved that there is at least 3 minutes missing from the video. So that begs a question of, if the FBI are lying, then what do the government have to hide? And now they are alleging that there is no Epstein client list, and that Epstein hadn't blackmailed anyone. This is after the Attorney General claimed back in February that she had the list of clients sitting on her desk just waiting for her to review. Why would you even lie about something that high caliber? And in June, even more fuel was added to the fire when Elon Musk and Donald Trump had their little breakup, and Elon went onto his platform and decided to say that Trump was part of the Epstein Files. A massive, totally expected bombshell, but one that they're now trying to sweep under the rug. Because there are many high-profile figures who are also potentially on this alleged list. Take Prince Andrew, for example, raging predator of the United Kingdom. A member of the British royal family who have repeatedly protected him over the years, Prince Andrew spent a lot of time with Epstein, both in the United Kingdom and the United States. It is alleged that one young girl was forced to have sex with Prince Andrew, and there is even photographic evidence of him having his arm around a 17-year-old's waist. Some other people who had allegedly visited his island are former US President Bill Clinton, actor Kevin Spacey, former Democratic Governor Bill Richardson, model Naomi Campbell, and former Democratic Senator George Mitchell. And those are just some of the names on the already confirmed connections. So with a bunch of high-profile friends and connections, and now an apparent non-existent list, what's the truth? Some Trump supporters have started to turn against the US president, even going as far as to burn their MAGA hats. His administration is now trying to brush off a majority of the Epstein Files as a hoax, so it's really no surprise that people who may have voted for him solely for the fact that these files would get released would start to turn on him. Even his former vice president Mike Pence has called on him to release the files, saying, "I think the time has come for the administration to release all the files related to Jeffrey Epstein's investigation." Yet still, despite the public outcry of the non-release of the files, House Republicans have voted twice this week to prevent the public release of the Epstein Files within 30 days. Only one Republican has voted in favour. And the new conspiracies deepen even further, because just this week, an FBI prosecutor who had been working on the Epstein case for some time was fired, seemingly for no reason. The president himself has even branded those who have turned against him as weaklings, saying that they are doing nothing but helping the Democrats. And is that really the best attempt that you can go with here? The government are treating the people like idiots right now, like they're just puppets that they can play. Because I think we all know that there is a high chance that Epstein not only did not kill himself, but also that there are definitely files and names being hidden from the public. I'm sure that one day they will come out and we'll find out just what is being hidden. But it really does make you wonder, what is so harmful potentially to the current president in those files that they feel the need to brand them as a hoax, especially when they've been so sure on releasing them just to win votes. There needs to be justice for the poor people who were harmed by Epstein and his connections, and when the government are actively trying to silence people, then what choice do we have but to keep calling for the release of these so-called files? Maybe they don't exist, but I think the chances of them actually existing are much higher than them not. And it's not only the Republicans either, because why did Biden and his administration not release the files when he was president either? There needs to be some serious questions asked over the governments and why they are hiding these specific files. What is it that they want to hide so bad about a dead file? Thank you very much for making it to the end of that video, I really appreciate you. Like, subscribe, share the video, do all of that good stuff, and let me know in the comments what you think is in the Epstein list, or if they even exist. Don't forget to check me out on social media. I have Instagram and Blue Sky, and if you want to get involved with the community, you can join my Discord server using the link in the description. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and YouTube members: Brooke, Entrepreneur, Maury Gann, K4 Silver, Alex Rod, Basefinger, Carmilla, Shoshka, Frozen Roses, Midnight Kitty, Sam, Colette Tiki, Catfood, Moonbird, and Briar. I'll be back very soon with another video, but if you want another right now, then YouTube thinks that you'll like the video that's on your screen.